Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for To Your Eternity, chapter 157.2. When we last left our heroes, the fight between Fushi and the Guardian Knocker continued, this time it being much more, textual, that Fushi was very much focused on defense, on not killing the Guardian Knocker, as the Guardian Knocker susses out because of the way that Yuki has influenced him. We get a bit of commentary on Yuki himself, how we actually get 100% confirmation that the water Yuki drank was Knocker infested, but Fushi's still just trying to capture the Guardian Knocker. She gets her in this sort of, one of those steel ball things, but the Guardian Knocker is able to, her core was outside the orbs, so she pulled a Fushi and, snuck out, and then tried to attack Fushi again, and just started pummeling, mocking Fushi's idealism, as Fushi turns into Pyoran, which is where we left off. That Pyoran return seems very significant. We'll see exactly how that comes into play right now. As Fushi counters the Guardian Knocker's line in the last chapter, trying to talk to you instead of killing you is idealism, but it's only natural for humans. And the Guardian Knocker taunts her, but we aren't human, are we? Which does kind of come into the question, is the story about Fushi learning to be human? Is it about him, or is it about them learning to become the next beholder? Does Fushi see himself as a human? Is an interesting question. I don't know. And then we come to Papa Mizuha, who comes in, or the Papa Mizuha Knocker, who I guess is still around. After, I think the last time we saw him, he was in that little dream that Fushi cooked up for him. Anyway, 157, Cleaning Up After Trust, Part 2. Honestly, Chami, there were still bullets left in the storeroom. So I don't know, okay, what's that about? I guess that means that he's gotten a new gun. For a second there I thought, did he kill Chami while we were gone? But I think he just sort of is berating Chami, in absentia, I guess. We also see the Guardian Knocker, who's not pleased to hear Papa Mizuha's voice. And the Guardian Knocker, tosses back the bullet case. Say, shall Papa help you, Mizuha? And the Guardian Knocker tells him, Papa! No, he still isn't taking this seriously. And Papa Mizuha, I wish we had a last name, or a first name for him that I could call him. Don't be so hard on him about that. I swiped all the great Fushi-sama's capable vessels. All of the great Fushi-sama's capable vessels. He only has weak ones left. Oh, and he, points out the gun. Oh, would you like to use this, Fushi-sama? But Fushi just counters, no. Then play with Mizuha like she wants. You still have one suitable round left in the chamber, don't you? What's that about? Is that a metaphor? Or is it an actual gun around? Because there was a gun that kicked off this whole drama when the real Mizuha dad killed himself. But it might be a metaphor, or there might be an actual gun around. I think the Guardian Knocker is taking it as a metaphor, because she responds, gets a fist ready. You're hiding something? Show me! And she slams her fist down, the water splashes everywhere, Papa Mizuha, guards himself. Yikes! And we see where her fist hit is, wood, I think. And the Guardian Knocker turns back in surprise. Oh. That one capable round left in the chamber is Kahaku. A character who I know some people deeply care about Kahaku. I've never really given a damn about him. Ever since the whole no homo incident, that was around the same time as the Iris Toto thing. I've never been a big Kahaku fan. I know there are people who are diehard Kahaku stans, in the sort of wet blanket kind of way. But I don't know. He's here, and Fushi then tells the Guardian Knocker, I wasn't hiding it. I was waiting for the right time to reveal it. And the Guardian Knocker just looks in almost outrage at Kahaku. The sixth successor, Kahaku. And we see her fingers are contorted in rage. The defective vessel! And she lunges at Fushi, just ducks out of the way. The Guardian Knocker spreads her sort of finger tentacles back towards Fushi again. And Fushi just gets out his sword and spins it around to the point that it blocks all the tentacles. And I think maybe I will have to, like, I know the anime, I just need to wait for the anime to come back in October so I can, like, remember any feelings I might have had about, or remember really anything about Kahaku at all. All I remember about him is that he, A, kind of sucked, B, had the whole, I'm into Fushi, but only if he's in a woman's body, therefore I'm not gay thing. And then he killed the Bennett Church guys at the very end, killing himself as well, and also giving Fushi a bunch of bodies back. But, like, for the Guardian Knocker, this was sort of, the Guardian Knocker, this was her host for a long time, right? She spent time in this body, and at the time, they had this sort of adversary, like, even didn't they, just within themselves, have this kind of, like, Bakura, Yami Bakura vibes, if Bakura had, like, any characterization whatsoever. Like, that sort of, like, adversarial vibes there. I don't know, it's just been too long since I read any of the Kahaku chapters, and I remember not being the biggest fan of the Renril stuff. Like, I remember not being a big Renril fan. I remember as I was reading it, I was like, am I really into this? I'm not sure. And then I got to the new era, and I'm like, oh, I really didn't like the Renril stuff. This is where the good shit is. Either way, we see Fushi's, appreciation for Kahaku here. Don't insult my comrade. And the Guardian Knocker is just like, seeing Kahaku has like turned her into a rage. Come on, fight harder! And Kahaku just dodges. Make no mistake. And Papa Mizuha yells, draw your weapon! Fushi! And the Guardian Knocker lunges at Fushi, and Fushi like holds up his like scabbard. What gives you this strength? And the Guardian Knocker brings her fist down on the scabbard and shatters it, hitting the sword beneath it. Is the blood running through those veins. And, like, with the force of that, oh, that's fucked. That's a fucked up image right there. At first I thought it was cut at the wrist. It's cut, like, right here. Like, her finger, it's just her fingers that are gone. And, like, the way it's, I know, like, technically there should be blood inside there, especially to fit with, like, Fushi's point, is the blood running through those veins. But, like, it just looks sort of limp in that panel. Like, it's sort of wobbly. It's gross, is the honest truth, is the blood running through those veins. And we see the Guardian Knocker's pain, a little, like, pain jolt that Fushi can feel. And that's where we leave off. So I will say, this does not feel like a chapter end. And also, normally, if it's a two-part chapter, they're both going to be, like, 12 pages. The fact that it's 12 and 8 means I think we will get part 3 next week. Though if that means anything is a whole other question. But yeah, all in all, I'm actually going to finally have to deal with the fact that I know next to nothing about Kahaku at this point. Like, it's not just I wasn't a big fan of Renril in the first place. It's in part, the fact he's been gone for, I think, like 2 years now? When did I'm gonna see when the past era, ended. In its release, right? I think it was like January of 20, if I'm not mistaken. December of 19. With the present era starting in January 20. So yeah, like, even from release schedule, it's been 2.5 years since he died. On like my personal reading, I caught up around March of 20. March 21, my bad. But even still, like, it's still been over a year since I saw Kahaku. Like, I remember very little about this guy other than him being kind of pathetic and the no homo and him dying. I don't know. I don't have a lot of thoughts on Kahaku. Like, it's not, I remember not being a big Kahaku fan, but I also don't really remember having, like, strong opinions about him one way or the other. He's a guy, he's there. There are some people on Tumblr who really are really obsessed with Kahaku. And I don't vibe with that really. But good win for the Kahaku stans, which, if I recall correctly, is the first time anyone could ever say that in the history of this manga. So if you are a Kahaku stan, good for you, I guess. Stay winning, I suppose. But it does seem, though, that, like, that is the blood running through those veins. It's getting more, instead of this being a Fushi Knocker conflict, this sort of, battle between demigods, it's focusing on the blood running through those veins is tying not just to Kahaku, who's of course important here. It goes all the way back to Hayase, to the chapter 3, I think is when she first showed up, maybe even 2, which I don't know. I'm not saying we're nearing an endgame for To Your Eternity. I don't even know personally what an endgame for To Your Eternity looks like. This isn't Naruto where it ends with him beating the bad guys and becoming Hokage, or even like I talked to in my video yesterday about Cuckoo, about how in some ways it kind of seems like Cuckoo is gearing up for maybe an endgame, not really in the broad strokes, but certain parts of the plot feel a little endgamey. But I can see what an endgame for Cuckoo looks like, right? Nagi picks one of the love interests, preferably Erika, and they get together. I have no idea what the end of To Your Eternity looks like. I really just don't know how this manga ends. Even in the broadest of strokes, I don't know how it will end. And so, while this does sort of feel like a climactic moment in the story of the family of Hayase, the family of the Guardians, I still don't know if this is a sign the manga itself is reaching its endgame. Or even that this storyline is reaching its endgame, even if this is something that's been going on from the very beginning of the entire fucking manga. And this maybe it's not the final moment in that story or even close to it, but it feels like we're focusing on, not just Mizuha as a person, but Mizuha as a descendant, as a member of a family. For the first time in a long while, we had a little bit when she died of her having her paradise, and then it's sort of erased by Hayase's vision. She has the vision of the Fushi baby, that whole thing, which is still a little weird given that we know she didn't go to paradise in the end. We see her in 156, hovering, crying with her parents as ghosts. But I don't know, we don't normally directly address Mizuha as a descendant of Hayase, right? The blood running through those veins as Kahaku shows up, if it's not about Hayase directly, it's about the whole line of Guardians. Going back to 700, I think, years ago is at this point when that started. There's the 500 years post-Renril, and I think there's 200 years, I think, between the Hisame stuff and the Renril saga. I think. I might be off on my calculations there. Either way, I'm curious where we're going with all this. I will say my prediction last week that the Pyoran thing would be important turned out to be wrong, because Pyoran was just sort of there. I think it's largely there to set up what Papa Mizuha says about only having weak vessels. He's left with, at this point, it's really just Rin, who was never a fighter, and Pyoran, who was 90. And of course Kahaku, who is capable. And I will say, though, slight difference now I'm looking at page 4 again. Slight different topic, is this line that Fushi has, I was waiting for the right time to reveal it. I'm not quite sure why. What about this moment is better to reveal Kahaku than at any other moment? What's happened here that's this is why he should reveal Kahaku here? Unless it's just, Papa Mizuha reveals his hand a little early, and now he has to show Kahaku. I don't know. That's a possibility too, I guess. I'm not sure. Either way, Kahaku is here, or Fushi Kahaku is here, or Kahaku Fushi is here, I suppose, the proper nomenclature there. And Fushi is now directly bringing up the blood in Mizuha's veins, which, given how important her family is to this show's lore, seems very important. But yeah, all in all, lots of fun here, even if you're not, a dyed-in-the-wool Kahaku stan. And I honestly can't wait to see how this is all going to play out going forward. So with that said, I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you'll enjoy the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or, do whatever makes you happy, And as always, your life is your own, okay? Bye!